Yeah. Just woke up. I'm really I guess kind of delighted with the idea that I'm actually like this is the first thing I want to do this morning. Like I could have stayed in bed. Well, I got up earlier. I'm like, oh, I'm going to get up and then I'll do some work maybe and wait for the meeting. And then I decided just to relax and
Yeah, good
not.
stuff. Uh,
But to be here first thing, that's good. Like it.
yeah. And
Yeah.
you're the only one here at the moment, so that's an opportunity, isn't it?
No way. Oh, I
Mm.
guess I guess it's the time change. I mean, time differences everywhere. You're late, right? It's dark for you, obviously. It's
Yeah, it's 10
o'clock,
p.m. for me. Yeah.
10 o'clock. Oh wow. Interesting. Hey, I find that so weird.
Yeah.
Your
So
day's over. Mine's just
what's
beginning.
your time zone is what, New
Six.
York?
Uh on Canada, Ontario, Eastern.
Right. Okay, yes, yeah, yeah, same as New York then over that side. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
My day's just
Oh well,
beginning.
I'm
Yeah.
honoured. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh,
All right, so let's make the most of this moment we've got. Tell me,
okay. I did
are
have
you
a thought.
awake? Yeah, go on.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm good. This is my best time of day to reflect and yeah. So I have a whiteboard I have in my kitchen, and I like to put things on it as reminders. Not that it works for me very often, but at least it's in my face. What would you put on it if you were me?
Oh, good heavens. I don't know where you're up to, so that makes it a really difficult thing to do.
Well, I still feel I'm the person. I still feel like I'm the doer. I'm pretty garden variety, human being right now still, honestly, with
Sure.
awareness of thoughts, definitely. And I could say I have a better grip on that, I can let them go very easily. Usually, the ones that are the worst are the ones that relate to my family, like my daughter, my
Yeah. Yeah.
grandkids, the attachments.
Would you go as far as to say that those ones relate to your relationship to them?
Not so much relationship, but um, oh no, it's usually worry. It's just usually worry and wanting things to be different for them.
Yeah, so why do you want things to be different from them and not for a stranger? I mean, you
Because I
probably
don't
do for
care.
a stranger, but why are they special? Is that got to do with your role?
Oh yeah, I love them very
Mm.
much.
But I imagine you love everybody, even
No,
if
I
you
don't.
don't. You don't, no?
No, no.
Mm.
No, the word love even doesn't make sense. I don't know what that means. So,
Yeah, yeah, that's typical, isn't it? Yeah, it doesn't make sense in the traditional way it's used. Sure. So you get that. I imagine you get it that your worry about your family, the ones you love, presents itself in story form.
yes.
Right? What will happen if, or what won't happen if, and those
And
kind of things.
sensation if I'm with them. Like when I'm with them, I get very like I'll just give you a quick story to give you some idea. Yesterday I brought my grandson after school. I picked him up, I surprised him, and we went to this trampoline place. We get to jump around, right?
Mm.
So I also decided to jump around with him. It was just so much fun. And then when I brought him home, my energy was so good, but as soon as I walked in there, I just felt I get all agitated because I just wish her life was different. TV's blaring, his dad's playing video games. It's Jamie's so tired, and my little granddaughter's screaming and bugging Blake. It's just like, it's just always so chaotic for me in there, and I can't,
Yeah.
it really affects me that I can't stay long a lot of the times because of it.
Yeah, sure. Yep, yep. So you see that environment
Yeah.
as affecting him in a negative way, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yep, yep,
Yes. And my granddaughter too. Yeah.
yep,
My daughter's like the best mother I like 10 time fold me. It's just the way they live in him. Yeah.
yep, yep, yep. Do you have a plan in mind that can change that for your grandkids?
No, just lead by, just give them what I can give them on my time with me. And that's the
Yeah,
calmness, that's the attention.
yeah, yeah. So how
That's,
you are, yeah. Do you get that if you feel rattled by that environment when you go in, that
yeah.
those kids are going to pick up on that?
Um, well, it's so stimulating. I don't know if they would even pick up on mine as opposed to what's going on there. Like
Yeah,
it's so
yeah,
loud
yeah.
and there's already enough crap going on that I
Yeah, yours
probably,
gets hidden a bit. Yeah,
yeah, I think it's much there that in there is much stronger than my subtle,
yeah.
yeah.
So given that you are accepting of not pleasant, but certainly you have accepted that that is the environment that they live in, and
Yes.
that the best that you can do for them is to be a really good role model and provide whatever you can, not even to compensate, but just because that's you see that as good stuff that you can give,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Then where's the worry?
The worry, well, it's the feeling I don't like, which I guess I want to get rid of by leaving.
Yep.
And I'm
But
guessing
that
that's the
but
story.
you get it quite clearly that the feeling comes as a result of you imagining how it's going to be so bad for them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Like look at him playing video games. He can't even,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You find things that confirm your story, that give your story some validity.
yeah,
It makes
useless.
your story seem accurate. Yeah.
Yes. 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 I do see that, Vince. I do see
Mm.
that. It's just the feeling is so uncomfortable and
Yeah.
yeah. So I leave. I guess that's my option.
Yeah. So how would you feel about yourself if you let's run a fantasy if you were relaxed in that environment, that you didn't feel the way you feel, that you accepted that that's the way it is for them? How would
I'd
you
be,
feel about yourself?
how would I feel about myself?
Would you feel neglectful? Would you feel guilty? Would you feel,
Oh, that's interesting. Um, no, I don't think I would feel either of those. I would feel
oh,
calm. I would be like,
yeah,
okay, just
right,
okay, the way I want
right,
to feel.
yep, yep, yep. So can you imagine the possibility that you could be that way? Now, we're not saying that as a result of being okay with that environment, that you're approving of it,
Right.
but we're saying that we recognize that your disapproval of it only achieves you feeling bad. It doesn't help the situation in any way, does it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So yet I know what you know now about that, yet you feel the way you do, and you will probably continue to feel that to some extent or another. It may change as a result of this conversation,
Mhm.
but nevertheless, there's some part of you that wants to hang on to the way you feel now.
Interesting.
Hmm.
And what would that benefit me, I wonder?
Yes, that's a good way to put it. What would be the benefit for you in hanging on to that worry, that concern? Does that change the way you see yourself, do you think? Well, let's go back. Well, an obvious one though is if you didn't feel upset about it, do you think that would be giving tacit approval to the situation?
It
That
would give
goes
a,
against a fundamental thing for you, doesn't it?
yeah, it goes against, I guess, beliefs that you have to take care of your kids and make sure.
Yeah,
See, it's just so obvious. I'm running off of a program that just runs.
yeah, 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 yeah.
No, I can't even answer you clearly. It's just something you're supposed to do. Like I
Well,
was
this
brought up
is
with worrying. That was our
yeah,
family's
yeah,
thing,
yeah.
worrying.
So what we're doing here, this is a absolutely valuable skill that you can develop, where you automatically look at the details of what is actually going on in you, not out there, because
Okay.
out there is just something you respond to. So it's in you where those details exist. And when we look at it like we've looked at it already, all of a sudden, things we took for granted aren't logical. They don't fit.
No, I don't. Okay. No, I get that. It just feels so weird to not think
Yes,
that way. You
absolutely.
know,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
hope you
yeah,
understand
yeah.
what I mean. And then
And
there's the concern that well, I love my kids the same. Like I'm like that's ridiculous to
of
even
course
want.
you will. There's no
I
question about
know, I
that.
know.
Yeah, yeah.
It'll be even better if I didn't have all these constraints.
Absolutely. Absolutely, yes. And I'll guarantee, look, those kids, even though there is a lot of noise going on and their attention seems to get carried off in other directions when you turn up with them, they notice. Kids notice. Believe me, they notice your demure. They
Yep.
notice what's going on in you, and they probably feel a bit guilty about the fact that you get upset, even if you pretend you're not showing it.
Oh, I hope not, my little
Yeah.
gem. So yeah.
Well, we notice things at an unconscious level that we
Yeah.
could never put our finger on consciously. We notice body language, we notice the way you hold your
Mm.
mouth, all these things that you don't notice
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that will give
Yeah,
the message to them. Yeah.
yeah. Well,
So
my
so
grandson, oh, go ahead, please.
yeah, I was just going to say, so if they get swept up in that chaotic environment
Hmm.
and you seem to stay in a cool center,
Hmm.
all of a sudden they recognize a possibility. But when you go in and you get swept up in it as well, even if you try to hide it, they go, I can't help it. I can't be any different. I'm just got to be carried away by this environment.
Ooh.
Yeah. Now, listen, this is an important one. It's not to say that you can do being different. It's a possibility, and this discussion enables that possibility.
Hmm.
And you will very likely find, at a practical level, you will very likely find that you can go in with a certain intention to stay calm. But next thing is you get swept away,
Yeah.
right? The old habits turn up. Now that doesn't mean you've failed. That
Yeah.
just means that you're presented with an opportunity to recognize the old habits, the old way of doing things. And
Okay.
if you don't recognize that that's happened, well, you don't know about it, so it doesn't matter. But if you
Right.
do recognize that it's happened, that will immediately break it. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to say, therefore, I won't be this way or I will be another way. You don't, just the mere fact that you recognize it will change it. And you'll go,
Really?
oh, just, oh. When I do that to show you, the feeling that comes over my body is just amazing. My whole being just, I get goosebumps. It just feels so nice. Just,
Wow.
oh, just letting it go, the
That's
shoulders
exactly
drop, yeah,
what I'm suggest well, I think that would what I do quite often is that I'll feel so how tense I am just naturally.
yes,
And oh my gosh, why like even lying in my own bed, I was like tight. It's like, holy jeez. So often you're always in a clench, right? So
yeah,
just, I
yes.
think
And
taking
you
a
don't
second
realize it until you do. Yeah,
and it feels so good when you let go.
yeah,
So that is a great practice for me when I do
yeah,
recognize that I'm feeling like that to let go at
yeah.
least inside, right?
Okay, so let me just say this to you though, with that, and I pick up on all these words that come out of your mouth and so on.
Mhm.
Let's change the language a little bit from when I let go to when letting go happens,
Okay.
right? So you get the difference.
Oh, you're removing the I.
Well, the doing as well. I am doing it. I am letting go. Well, you don't do letting go. Letting
Oh.
go will happen or not.
So that's the point to that is the I. I know I'm thinking again.
Yeah.
Um, the
And
I
what rests on that I is the illusion of control,
of
the
doing.
illusion of choice, of intention. Yes, doing. Exactly. So that all fits together. It all comes together into that one thing. So all I'm saying is let's not concretize the old way of doing it by using the language that supports the old way of doing it. Right. So
Okay.
if again, it'll come to you or not, and just the
Right.
idea that, oh, I'm going to do this. Oh, hang on. Oh, it can happen. It can just happen.
That just kind of clicked the understanding of the whole don't use I, instead use hand is my not my hand is moving, but hand is moving. Now that just tells me that I don't know how I understand it, that that'll help me see how I am not really doing anything.
Yes.
Like if I were to change my words to stop initiating that recognition of it's thinking it's me.
Yes.
I hope that
Yeah,
just made sense to you.
absolutely. And again, that will happen or not. And if it doesn't, you won't know about it.
No,
But
because my mind
yeah,
always says, "Oh, that's just so stupid, Jenny." Keep saying that. It's not gonna fucking
yeah.
do anything.
Well, we're only going to do it in the beginning. After a while, you can say, "Oh, I did that," but we know you don't mean it.
Once
We
it's
know,
clearly seen,
yeah,
yes.
yes. So once it's clear, that's right. The language then becomes less important. But in the
Right.
beginning, the old language reconfirms the illusion.
Okay. Okay. I just thought that was just something to shut your mind up with, and it is in
Yeah,
a way, but I have to really see it.
yeah. So again, in the beginning, we can say pretty well everything that the mind says is not worth paying much attention to. It's all bullshit, right?
Like,
But once we've broken the chain, once the cage door is opened that mind created, then we can be much more relaxed with the mind, and we'll find it very useful, if not useful, entertaining. but we're not forced to obey,
Okay.
and we're not forced to believe that the mind instigated anything. The mind always follows. That's a
Always.
general thing, but it's very true. The mind always follows. And usually what it follows, what it does is it narrates about what the brain and the body have decided.
Okay.
An impulse, usually.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mentioned last time that when you're walking or you're looking at things and you say how the mind comes first and then it like calls it what it is. And I
Mm.
don't get that. Like I don't get that narrator saying, "Oh, that's a bottle of water. That's a cup." Like that doesn't happen for me. But I'm guessing that something else is taking place as opposed to words that
Yeah,
I'm
that's right.
hearing.
Yeah. So the mind doesn't have to present itself in a language form,
Okay.
but yeah. And it could well be that it is doing that stuff, but you're not aware of it.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know
Is
that that's the case. I'm just saying it's a possibility. Yeah.
I honestly I don't know. I just look at it and it's what it is, but I
Mm.
certainly don't call it what it is.
Right. Can you, if you focus your attention on my glasses,
Hmm.
did the word glasses turn up for you anywhere?
I only heard your word.
My word of glasses, but it didn't come up to you as it didn't
No.
echo, it didn't repeat, none of that.
Mhm.
No, all right. Yeah, okay, so that's great. Yeah, you might well be one of the few people that instinctively has direct experience of things. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's good stuff. So, but it's all discovery. All of this stuff is let's
Yeah, I
let
might find out that it displays in a different way after this,
yeah,
right? Because I thought maybe there was something. What am I missing here when I keep hearing that and I'm like,
yes.
that's not happening though
Yeah,
for
yeah.
me.
So don't get lost in that, and certainly don't consider that you're deficient in any way or
Mhm.
yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
You're you, whoever that is, whatever that is. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So do you still have you come up with anything to put on my board for me then?
Oh, I would say what might go well on your board would be the words old way and then an arrow between after that pointing to the right and then new way written up. So old way, arrow, new way.
Okay.
Right? And you could put another arrow down pointing at the old way
Hmm.
with the word recognize
Okay.
at the tail end of that arrow, so that what you're looking to do is recognize when the old way automatically turns up, and then considering whether or not it's appropriate to reframe that in the new way.
Okay. And a new
Just
way is recognizing of the story and is it benefiting me basically? If
um, yeah, well, what I was thinking of, and thank you for that. I wasn't being clear enough, I guess, was so in the new way you could put an arrow pointing to it with like different language,
okay.
some version of the words different language, as a way of, and the word reframe is excellent. Reframe. Do you get the what that means?
Yes, reframing it like you told me, instead of I am letting go is happening.
Yes, perfect. Yes, exactly. So that puts things in a in an objective way. There's a there's a cup exercise that I use, and I just call it the cup exercise. I'll email it to you, and you can work your way through it, and then we'll talk about it and kind of polish it up next time we go, because it's a bit long, you know, it's half a page
Okay.
long of stuff to go through. Um,
Okay.
but the intention of it is for you to recognize how we 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 transform our experience into simplistic notions in order to communicate them, and that simplistic notion doesn't touch the detail of it. And so, for example, one of the things that you'll find is if we use a white cup and you sit a white cup in front of you and look at it, you'll realize you can call it a white cup, right? But then you realize when you look at it closely that that white is not the same white on the left-hand side as it is on the right-hand side. It
Mm.
varies depending on where the light comes from. So you get something that's less white and more white. You get kind of a, you know, go from grey to white or whatever. So there are and in fact, it's a gradual variation. And you couldn't
Yeah.
even say, no way could words describe the difference between the two sides if it's not really extreme. So, so white suddenly becomes not white. And then when you look at it and you're realizing that what you're looking at is form and color, right? And that the form of it, it has straight edges, it has what we call a handle, it has an opening, right? But none of that makes it into a cup. What makes it into a cup is the story that it's used to contain a liquid to be drunk. And without that story, it's not a cup. It's just an object. And so once again, we take things for granted, and we take the idea that we've added a purpose to it, that is to contain a liquid, and we believe that that's integral to the object itself when it's clearly added to it. It's not, you won't find it by looking at it, by touching it, by smelling it, by any of the physical senses, won't tell you what its purpose is. But of course, you know what its purpose is. You've been taught that,
Yeah.
but it exists only as a story.
And so that is something that could be used with thoughts, I'm guessing.
Absolutely. When you start to, then you start to realize that so much of what you take to be actual consists of something plus stories. And this is pervasive. It's all through our culture, our everyday experiences, right? Even a feeling, you know, you say, I feel cold. You don't feel cold. You feel a sensation,
Yeah, we're told it's cold and that
and the story is that yes, I want to feel warm, or so I'll put a coat on,
you gotta
or
fix it.
turn
Yeah.
the heater on, or something. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so cold is not a thing, but it is an experience. But we have to simplify it to refer to it in that way. Yeah,
I noticed that with my burning mouth this morning because it's really bad in the morning and at the evening. And I'm like, oh, it's just a sensation. I'm like, yeah, but I don't like it. And oh, there it is again, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So saying it's just a sensation could be a description of the experience, but you've got added to that experience, you've got that you don't like it, that it's unpleasant. You describe it as unpleasant, etc. Right?
Yeah.
And so consequently, then we've also got stories that you don't even realize about what would it be like not to be there? What would it be like if I didn't have it anymore? Or I want to fix it, or I want it to go away. All these things are added to your experience of it. When when if you were able to simply experience it as a sensation, there are no instructions in a sensation. There is no information in a sensation. It's just a sensation. So all of a sudden the added components aren't giving you something to react to, which is what always leads to suffering. That added stuff, yeah.
Yeah. Because it's
So
really not. Go ahead.
any feeling of any kind is a sensation with stories attached to it.
Yeah. Can't deny that.
Yeah. But how do you not have the stories? Or do you? Maybe you still have the stories, but you recognize them as stories, and so you don't have to respond to the story component like you were responding to the combination of the sensation plus the story before. You can just it's almost like it gives you an option. And so
Okay.
consequently things you took for granted, what does that feeling like is that's that feeling when you recognize that there is a large story component to that and that a lot of your reaction to it is to the story component, all of a sudden different possibilities pop up.
Mm. Mm. Wow, that's amazing if you can catch that. Holy jeez. If you can catch that. Yeah. How wonderful your day could be.
Yeah. And it's
Mm.
the same with your burning ears. That
Oh, thanks for remembering. Just one starting right now.
and what may happen
Mm.
is that when you remove the old story component, or when you recognize what that component is,
Yeah.
you may well, it's like you offer an invitation to some part of you, to some unconscious part of you, to expose itself.
Mm.
So you might discover what it's about, or at least a flavour of what it's about, not if not details.
Well, yeah, I know what a lot of it's about because my ears stick out and it I finally broke the fear of having my hair up years ago. I had to get over it. And it's very minimal now, but it's still a little bit there. It's like, oh, they're.
Yeah, really, yeah.
Yeah.
I never saw your ears as sticking out.
Oh.
Uh, did
But
they call
yeah,
you Jumbo when you were a kid?
no, I got called other things. Yeah, like let's put you on top of the house, Jennifer, so we get free cable and you know.
Okay, kids are ruthless, aren't they?
Oh my gosh. It's
Yeah,
a yeah,
yeah,
beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
yeah. So here, see, this may be part of the story that you've just revealed to me, at least, if not to yourself, an aspect of your burning ears.
Yes, I would say definitely an aspect of it. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. The self-consciousness of people looking at me and thinking, oh, look at her
Yeah,
ears
yeah,
and all the stories they would say about me.
yeah. Wow.
And,
I love sitting on a chair in the shopping centres
oh,
and
yeah.
and just watching people. And I'm absolutely fascinated by all of the shapes and sizes, the unique appearance of every single person. And there's no judgment about it. There's no, that's better than or worse than. There is just difference.
That's beautiful.
It
That's
is.
beautiful.
It is. And
Comparison is just is horrible.
comparison is a bitch.
It's
Absolutely. Yeah.
it could really just do you in, you know?
Yeah.
I have it written on my board that comparison is the thief of joy. I forget where I heard that one, but
Yeah.
so
That's a good
true.
one. Mm.
However, it's just like right away and off you go.
Yeah. Yeah. So these things are become quite automatic because we've been doing them for a long time. Yeah.
It's, it's draining, you know. I think most of the day it's so draining just to be stuck in your gerbil cage of the wheel, you know, just running and running.
Yeah.
It's so exhausting, and you don't have to be.
Absolutely. Yeah. So can you imagine reaching a words again, getting to us. Can you imagine that one day you'll just be absolutely fascinated by everything that you see? Things that, the most mundane, common things you'll look at and you'll go, oh, wow, look at that. Isn't that amazing?
You asked me if I could imagine that, right?
Yes. Yeah. Is it something you've experienced yet?
No, well, in nature, yeah.
Yeah.
In babies and kids, you know.
Yeah. Kids. Yeah. Kids' enthusiasm is what
Yeah, it's
does
just
that, eh? Yeah. Yeah. A
it's,
flower does it. Wow,
oh yes,
flowers.
yes,
Yeah, the
yes.
colors of flowers. Brilliant.
I am
Absolutely
amazed by
brilliant.
plants. Like they just amaze. Oh yes, I do get that. Oh yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh yeah.
And can you imagine it happening when you see a rock on the road?
Eh,
Yeah, every
I guess
rock is as unique as every person. They're absolutely unique. Yeah.
yeah. I
And some
admire
of them
nature.
just really jump out at you as being
Mm-hmm.
magical. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
What about a blade of grass? What about a blade of grass with a drop of dew on it?
Absolutely.
You can just imagine it, can't you? And doesn't that
Yeah.
make your whole being fill up with love? Oh, doesn't it feel so full and so good? Yeah,
I guess that's what I'm feeling when I go for a walk. And I look
yeah,
at the snow glistening and even in the cement in the sidewalk where you see the sand, like the light catch, it's
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
Mm. It's just
There you
beautiful.
go. Yeah,
So I guess I can imagine it because I do experience it. I can
yeah,
imagine it expanding, yes, to
yeah.
other things.
So you're way more awake than you used to believe 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. With all the other way of looking at things, yeah, I can
Sure. Yeah,
definitely everything we spoke about, I can imagine doing.
yep,
Absolutely.
yeah,
With intention, with desire, with earnest, you know, like yeah, like I'm looking forward to the next time I could I could utilize this
yeah,
exercise, right?
yeah,
Makes me want to go over to my daughters and get all pissed off.
yeah. Good on you. Absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
I think I'll get your name tattooed on my hand.
uh, uh, I just feel so good talking to you. It's just
Yeah,
wonderful.
this
I
is
just
a wonderful
love it.
morning.
Yeah.
Start have a better start to my day, I'll tell you that. Couldn't. These are the best meetings. My grandson yesterday in the trampoline place because we were jumping and he noticed how much fun I was having, right? And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
he wanted to go to another side of the place where he could climb through this big maze of nets and stuff and adults can't go in there. So I was just sitting there watching him and he comes out, he goes, Nana, do you want to go back and bounce? He goes, because I want you to be happy. I'm like, no, 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 no. Don't worry about Nana. You go have fun. And so I sat there. I'm like, that poor boy thinks he needs to make me happy. He's already had that.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't say that. He was he was buzzing on your happiness. He just wanted to do that again. He
Oh,
didn't.
okay. See,
He
yeah,
wasn't feeling responsible. Yeah.
I turned it around as, oh no, now he feels like he has to take care of people and be their source of
Yeah.
happiness.
It might be the case, but I don't imagine that that was the case. I
Okay.
thought he was just feeling great seeing you happy. And
Oh,
that's, well,
okay.
how could you not feel great about that? Yeah?
Oh, it was so fun. And then I said
Yeah.
to him later, I said, I have a secret for you. I said, listen, it's not your job to make anybody happy. Okay, Nana. I don't think he got it. But I don't want him
Yeah.
to ever believe that he's the source. He has to be a certain way to make another person happy. Because that's how I grew up. It's like, don't, not seen, not heard. Go get out of here. Go play. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Don't be a cause of my annoyance, my upsetness.
Yeah. 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 I got the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Don't come back until the street lights come on.
exactly. Yeah, great. Thanks. Yeah. Oh, that's a great. See, I wouldn't even think of it that way, Vince. I wouldn't even
Yeah.
think about he just buzzing off how much fun he was having with me. That's so cool.
And a lot of, you'll say a lot of things to him that you see as wise, but of course you can't get how he's going to take it.
Yes,
Right.
I know.
So a lot of that it'll be repetition for you over time and you'll explain it in different ways and so on. But believe me, most of what he's going to get from you is what he observes, not
Yes,
what you say. Yeah.
yes, 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 yes. I
Hmm.
completely, viscerally, I get that. And that's the way to be. That's the only way I can be any kind of influence in their lives.
Mm.
Yeah. And that's fine. That's the easy.
Mm.
That's easier
Absolutely.
than wanting them to have this and that, this and that. If they can have a solid rock, a solid feeling within that they're okay, that's the best gift I can give anybody,
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah.
including myself, obviously, and for my daughter. Yeah.
How are you, Tim? I presume you're good. I'm only being polite here.
I'm all right. Uh, it's been a really weird 10 days though. I was just before I'll only share in brief because there are a couple of story themes, but they're kind of, I don't know if they're relevant. But I was thinking about what Jenny was saying. We have a daughter whose ears stick out, and she used to have a lot of trouble with that when she was younger. I think it was more on her part that I don't think she got called jumbo or anything like that. she was very self-conscious because she wanted to be an actress, and she went to drama school, got a BA, and I don't know how she overcame it, but she's played lots of theatre things, had lots of roles, and I I've never asked her recently. Obviously, how do you feel about your ears? But somehow she let go of it, and I'm not bigging her up, but it really used to when she was young, it really used to bother her. She was considering surgery or even putting tape on them discreetly and that sort of thing. And on the burning issue, my armpits have been burning for the last week. I woke up one morning and they were really itching, and then they started to burn when they weren't itching. And it's fairly persistent, but I just I didn't really do anything about it. I mean, it's bearable, and I noticed it, but it, I, I guess it depends where you're at. Going off into sort of waffle now. Our cat's currently got fleas, and he's been quarantined here downstairs. He used to come up on the bed, and he was biting both of us, but mainly my wife, and she was going absolutely mad. And she's really angry at the cat, and um, she, hoovered and put stuff down, that sort of thing. And I don't know why, but they didn't bother me. I guess, and I'm not. It's not because nothing bothers me, but of a physical nature. I don't know why that is really, but sorry, that was a slight digression. It was interesting hearing Vince talking to you. I missed the first part. But what's been going on for me is the theme has been really arguments with my wife, being triggered by my wife, and it's really down to two things. It's obviously seeing through the past. That's the thing. If you've been in a close relationship, I guess for any amount of time, but particularly a long-standing one, there will be themes that, well, in my experience, come up again and then they subside and that sort of thing. But it's also to do with my apparent lack of cognitive skills or orthodox way of perceiving things or understanding things, because some things that apparently other people get, I apparently don't. So I have to be told again, which it creates annoyance on both parties' parts. And I don't know why it's been so intense this week. It just has. I don't know if anything's on my wife's mind that could be exacerbating it. But themes come up, and then it gets a bit personal potentially. Like you don't think of other people. That sort of like old stuff, like the selfish. You don't think of other people. Just sort of random bombs being dropped, and it's quite tiring. It's not as bad as it used to be, but it hasn't been easy. And like Vince was emphasizing, he didn't use the word toxicity, but the way that stories exacerbate everything. I could sense stories coming in about myself and how I am, adding to what was there, and they did creep in for a while, but I let them go. And yeah, that's been the main thing. There's a few other bits. They're kind of related things, but that's my share. Yeah.
So you recognise when an accusation happens that you immediately defend?
Sometimes I still do, yes. Yeah. Because, well, because I do, but because I'm giving some meaning and weight to it from the past. You know, I know the ideas behind it, but I think um, some things seem to be stickier than others. You know,
Mm.
uh, yeah, and this kind of interaction, the misunderstanding, not being heard,
Yeah,
sometimes literally physically. I mean, my hearing has been boosted by all this good stuff, you know, the AirPods and
sure.
so on.
Yeah, I get that.
But
Yeah,
that adds another layer. So that's not as bad as it was. So yeah, but that yeah, I have reacted a couple of times. Yeah, as has she. She will also defend herself. She's got a thing about being misunderstood because her dad used to shut her down and not being heard. You know.
yeah.
Um,
So what about
but
you?
yeah,
Do you feel a need to help her to understand her her misunderstanding of you?
this is something we went through when I was going through my I've got ADHD or I am an autism phase, which you know the boxes were ticked and that sort of thing. And she was the one who said, "Yeah, I mean, you know, she could see it more than me and that sort of thing." To do with not being able to understand things unless they were sometimes restated or reframed. Um, sorry, I've forgotten your question.
Well, I was thinking mainly of if she says,
Oh, do I want to? Yeah,
yeah, you dot, and you
yeah,
go, oh, hang on, that's not the way it is for me. I better make it clearer for her what actually happened. Do you feel the need to correct her understanding of your response?
I don't know. I'm just trying to think. I'm just trying to be in
Yeah,
a situation,
it's a tricky
remember a
one. I mean, what we might
situation like
call
that.
good communication is somebody will say something, and then what you will do is you will paraphrase that or echo it back to them in a way
Yeah,
that confirms for them that they heard you heard them right. So
yeah.
when your wife says you dot and you go, no, that's not the way it was for me. Do you feel a need to correct her to help her to understand more accurately what it is that you experienced?
Sometimes that happens, and that takes place. And then she'll have a line like, "I can't understand how anyone would see it that
Yes.
way." But she's actually very good at critical thinking and stuff. She's very sharp and that sort of thing. I'm not particularly in that way. Um, but I know what you mean about as people reflect in counselling and stuff. If I
Mm,
understand you correctly, you mean this. Is that what you're saying? We don't do that, but it might be an idea. I mean, she finds all these things uh, a bit sort of not fake, but sort of what's the word? You know, employing things like that. She won't really have it. I don't mind doing it, not because I'm better, but because I've been involved in that
mm.
world, if you like, this world.
Yeah. Well, of course, I'm
Which we don't
really
do.
talking about myself, you know. So when my wife says she's constantly saying you're deaf, you should wear your hearing aids,
Right.
and after years, I can't get it through to her that having my hearing aids on or not makes no difference.
All right. Okay.
Right?
It,
I miss
yeah.
certain things, and I need them repeated, regardless whether I've got them on or not.
Okay.
Right? But
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
insists that I'm deaf. It's not another
Right.
issue. She just says, no, it's your fault. You're deaf. You gotta be
Yeah.
different.
Yeah. I get that. Even when I've got them in, because no, just because. But yeah, I get that too. In fact, that's
Mm.
one of the main
Yeah,
oddly enough, that's one of the main ones. Yeah.
yeah.
Or even if I have the other layer is that I don't process things proper like other people. I have to have like you
Yeah.
know when people say something like two people are talking, like say two people of the same gender, and then she will say, and they said, I say, what, you mean Ron or Jeff? You know, and she say, well, Ron, obviously. I said, no, not for me, obviously.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't get
It
that.
wasn't obvious to you. Yeah.
It's simple. No, it's not. I don't get those nuances. And I'm not the only one. I said, look, one time I was being stupid, like Lenny, our son. I said, look, see, Lenny, did you get that? He said, well, it was a bit ambiguous, Mum. So I guess that was a bit of a cheap shot trying to get him on side, but you know,
Yeah,
I'm
maybe.
human. Yeah, I'm human.
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
I don't know. And then so you're all going up on me.
yeah.
You three guys, like two sons and me. Yeah, it's weird. Communication is a miscommunication is it causes a lot of problems.
Can do.
It really,
Yeah.
you wouldn't need half the stuff or skills that you think. I think, that if I could really sort of master that, it would be whatever that means. It would be a help. Yeah. So I'm just and I mean there are other things going on, but that's the main one. And I think the important thing is this is what it came down to in the end. We were talking about not only the fact that we were arguing how it was different to years ago, and how we do other things like judge people sometimes or whatever it is. What we were saying, I said, just imagine if someone knew what we've been into, and they were a fly on the wall and saying, "You bloody this, you bloody," us sort of going back and forth like that. And she said, "Yeah, but remember what we used to be like. You know, it's." And I guess Tim, this is it, set the bar a bit high. I have a little story. After all these years, you should. Sometimes comes in. It's not like a confession. It just does because it does.
Mm.
But I guess if you're measuring, I don't like all that stuff, but it is. I mean, we've seen people really go. We know this couple, and if they disagree, they literally won't talk to each other for about 3 days, and they live in the
Oh,
same house.
wow. Yeah, yeah.
That's really. I couldn't do that. I can't keep my mouth shut
No.
well, I can, but for more than half an hour, perhaps. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know that feeling. Oh,
So,
yeah. I definitely
which
do
one?
that, Tim. I have done that in the past with my relationships that if there's a disagreement and like I didn't know how to repair, it would just be silent. See you
Right.
later. Yeah, that's how I deal
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah.
I know that, and that's why I'm not in a relationship. I think they're very
Right.
hard.
Relationships. Yeah. I mean, I think. Yeah. I think that's. I mean, the old hackneyed Eckhart Tolle line, where he says,
Mm,
if you want to find out if you're awake or not, go and stay with your in-laws or whatever it is. One of those.
yeah.
Mm.
Any variation on family, really, or family that you're not really that keen on. It's probably an
Yes.
understatement. Yeah. But I think I was thinking about the whole awakening. We've said it's not a very good word. I think it's overrated, in fact, because it's the least of it for me. I don't mean to sort of this in the wake of it, unless you've done a hell of a lot of whatever you want to call it, shadow work or whatever, before, or you're one of these lucky people who come in like an Eckhart Tolle, who seems to be just something, he was depressed and stuff before. I was in a park bench. I woke up and I was laughing all the time. Sorry. Um, yeah, smiley. Yeah, it's just, it's, yeah, have to kind of get on with it, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's a big one, especially, see, people will have an opinion or they'll have a story about where they are on some kind of mythical journey to some mythical
Yeah,
place like awakening. Yeah.
yeah.
And
That's a
so
great
they'll
term.
rate themselves and say, well, I'm not there yet, and so on and so on.
Yeah,
And I kind of want
and
to debunk that, as much as I can. The idea that there is a final resting place is a joke. There's no such thing.
I hope so. Yeah, yeah.
And it doesn't matter
Yeah.
how long if you see yourself as being awakened, I see that as valuable in that
Yeah,
in
sure.
that you it's a perspective from which you look at the world and towards what you see in the world. Uh, but no matter how long you've been awakened, you're going to keep waking up. You're going to keep having experiences. Of stuff will keep coming up forever and ever, I think.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
think
maybe
so.
there are some people that are just mythical in my mind who reach a stage where they go, well, I've arrived, but I don't know about that. I don't know any of them either.
I don't know. I think this is one of the problems with maps. You know, that there's they appear to be linear. You know, maps
Mm.
on the path, how the path should look. And if you look at them, a few of them, they're just variations on a theme. They've got different language, but they're basically
Yeah,
saying, "Don't be attacked," or whatever it is. You know, it's the same ingredients with Sanskrit or other
yeah,
terminology,
yeah, yeah.
like but it's basically the same. And one of the problems I had this comparison problem when I used to go to these groups is like when you get someone who's had experience and say, oh yeah, that was a tent feta thing where everything was in 2D for 2 days a week. And I think, wow, but I ascribe meaning to it. It doesn't mean
Mm.
anything. All of the I guess sages I give credence to would laugh and say, forget about all of these different phenomenal
Experiences,
experiences
yeah.
that
Mm.
happen. I mean, we used to have a girl come to one of our groups who had a near death experience when she was young, and she every week she'd talk about it. She wanted to go back there. She was really really unhappy, and she said, if only I could be 15 again and have this. And yeah. Anyway,
Mm.
that's enough. I think. No.
Mm. Thanks, Tim.
Yeah. Thank you for listening.
That's life in Minneapolis, Jeremy.
It's excellent fuel for looking within,
Mm.
uh, testing beliefs, assumptions, conditioning, and it's fucking cold still. That hasn't gotten any
Yeah,
better either.
yeah.
um, yeah, I actually had an experience yesterday that um, I've come to really appreciate when my brain um, is what's the word? I guess a phrase that I say is often is wrapped around the axle. Like it can't let something go. Um, and the situation was, I was talking with some friends yesterday morning, and we were talking about news and social media and asking each other, how do you consume news? One thing that this whole um, situation in Minneapolis has highlighted for me is that for the longest time, well, maybe not the longest time, but for several years now, um, I've been leaning more and more towards that perspective of staying somewhat distant from news,
Yeah, yeah,
especially from the daily, like 24-hour news, sort of much more um, opinion and analysis than it was, just factual reporting of things that happened. Um, and the one thing that always concerned me about that approach is like, well, what if there's something that's happening right now that is important that I would find important to respond to? Um, and so this situation has done that. If I had stuck with well, I'm only going to look at the news every few days or once a week, or even there were times where I was only read. I subscribed to the Economist because I loved only getting the news once a month, or maybe it's once a week. I don't remember. Um, but anyway, we're talking about this topic of like how do you balance um, staying informed enough to meet whatever needs you have while also
yeah.
staying informed if shit's going down right now down the street. um, and I have found that okay, so that was one topic. The other topic was there have been times where I have felt um, emotions, bodily sensations arising related to anger, sadness, um, I don't know, like stories of despair, hopelessness, um, I don't know, all over the place have arisen. Um, and whether, I'll talk to some people and feel a sense of, um, I don't know, being understood or being heard. It's like my conditioning uh, has got company. um, and then I'll talk to my dad, and it's like we don't have the same view on things, and
Mm.
um, I guess on the same. It reminds me of, okay, this is a lot of just conditioning differences too, but I don't have that same like feeling of um, community and kinship and being understood, being heard. Gosh, I'm dragging this out into far too long of a story.
That's fine. Yeah,
The issue is, um, for example, there have been moments throughout the last few weeks where I have gone to TikTok, Instagram, and other social media, uh, in a sense to, instead of, well, gosh, just talking through this right now with people who understand the the more of the awakening topic, has highlighted maybe the hypocrisy in what I've been thinking. I'll say what I was going to say. um, and that was that I was going to things like TikTok because uh, that sort of anger in me wanted to be felt. And I found other people who were angry, and it
yeah.
was almost like a soothing anger, right? It felt good to be angry with other people who are angry or sad
Mm,
or whatever
mm.
it might be, or hopeful. It's like, hey, this is what it looks like when uh, a community stands up for itself and people stand up for their neighbors. And the whole concept of like echo chamber and hive mind came up. And on one hand, I saw that I was intentionally going into that because it felt good. And on the other hand, I found that I was um, going into that um, and potentially avoiding um, feel like potentially avoiding content that was different than what I was
Mm,
thinking and believing. I don't know. It's all just so confusing, and I'll just stop there and let
yeah,
anybody share their
yeah.
interpretations of what I might be doing and what you might suggest I do.
Mm. Well, confirmation bias is a pretty natural human thing, isn't it? We tend to want to do that. Yeah. I found what you were saying interesting in that the way that the news media portrays things, it tends to be a bit dramatized, which of course is designed to hook into your anger or your intense emotions about the thing, and that keeps you engaged with them. And so this, of course, is what the algorithms in social media do as well. So you that confirmation bias is a big part of social media, isn't it? Because the algorithms will feed you the stuff you want to read. Because you read it, it'll give you more of the same flavor at least. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what interested me was, what's your judgment about yourself with what you've been doing? Do you feel guilty? Do you feel annoyed? Do you feel what's hey, do you have a
Hmm.
judgment about it? Do you think you should be doing something different?
I see two judgments having come up. One is um, I shouldn't be I should be consuming less information about others people's reactions to things. Um, and I also should be um, being more empathetic and seeking more connection, regardless of who the person is. Um, I should be
Especially if they've
trying
got a
to,
different view to you.
yeah, I should be trying to understand. Like I generally believe that everybody does um, our human tendencies, maybe more than tendencies, but I believe that people do everything that they do to meet a need.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
and so trying to understand people with whom I disagree or see things differently, like what is it that is operating inside you that has um, led you to have this
Hmm.
belief, this opinion? Um, and actually, one thing that hit me yesterday is that um, like everything that all my stories, all my beliefs, um, even from like the Constitution in the United States, um, it's only true in the sense that there's been a lot of people who have agreed with it, and all of it's made up. um, but a lot of people have agreed, and that's what has that's why it has worked. But it's not true or right in the sense that there is some like
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
universal in the
no
sense like law of the
objective.
universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no objective law of the universe that said that this is how this has to be. And there are cultures and countries around the world who don't have the same beliefs or same sort of principles of how society should operate. And I guess what I've learned, what I've seen is there are things that I guess I'm starting to see the hypocrisy in myself and in my thoughts and beliefs and conditioning, in the sense that like when it comes to gun violence, school shootings, and all that shit that's been happening in the United States for years, uh, I think that the Constitution should change. Um, but then there are also things where people who have different beliefs than me, um, uh, also think that it should change in other ways that I disagree with.
Mm,
And so it's like,
mm,
I'm right because there should be stronger gun restrictions and want the Constitution to change or the laws to change. They're wrong because they're disagreeing with the Constitution and how the laws
mm,
are. Um, and so it's that's all of this, like, there's so much nuance and so many different perspectives, and all of those different parts
mm,
of what's inside my thoughts, in conflict.
mm. Yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it? I love the concept of consensus reality. And of course, it's a very broad church, so to speak. So what we have is this, what we call a consensus reality. But as soon as you get into any details, of course, it can be broken down into a whole lot of different, almost sects, if you like. You know, there's those that believe in the Second Amendment, and there's those that think it should be changed, and so on. So that, you know, as soon as we get into details, it doesn't work anymore. But it has worked as much as it has worked, in spite of the differences that people have got in the details of it. So far be it from being perfect, it's irrelevant in a way, in that it still has had a certain overall effect. So this idea of consensus reality, you know, we can say, well, probably everybody thinks that it'd be good if everybody was happy. Even the racists, even the people that say, you know, well, those people should be happy somewhere else, not around me, or whatever. So it's a bit of a tricky one in that way. And when we get right down to it, we come down to the individual level. What we've got is what I believe, and I believe, not just what I actually believe, but the way I see myself, and how others have got the same thing. So I think you're right in the sense that everybody believes what they believe because they're doing their best to feel good, and that whatever the details of what they're believing in their mind is going to help them to feel good, or rather help them not feel bad, maybe more accurate.
One other thing that, sorry, were you about to say another thing? I didn't want to interrupt, but it looked like
No,
you
you go.
did it.
It's fine.
Um, Kind of related to that consensus reality is that, like, having had some form of being more awake than I was years ago. Um, in a sense, it doesn't matter to me how where I'm at right now compares to others. All I know is that I see things, I see life and experience from a different perspective than I did before. Um, I believe that that is not the consensus experience for a lot of people. Either, um, either I guess partially maybe from assumptions, but just in conversations and
Sure. Yeah.
how
Yeah. I
how
get
how
that.
is it?
Yeah.
And so like there's this uh I guess you could there's this thing that I hold to be true that seems quite uncommon in today's world. And yet I couldn't let anybody tell me that it's not. um, and so it's like this, like just because a lot of people believe in it or think it's true doesn't make it true to me.
Mm,
Um, and so that's been quite challenging too. Is that like just because the majority thinks it's right, does that make it right? And then sort of everything starts falling down because it's like
mm,
everything
mm.
everything's made up. Everything is
Yeah. Yeah.
human tendencies and conditioning and
Right. So
what's real anymore.
you use the word true and you use the word right, and neither of those have any absolute reality, do they?
I don't think they do.
No. Well, they don't. We know they don't. I mean, you and I know they don't. That they're peculiar to the individual. So what one person says is true, another person doesn't say that. What one person says is right, another person doesn't say that. So if we're not even looking at the word true and right, we're just looking at different people having different interpretations of those things. And you and I are not about to correct them. We can't change the world to conform with our idea of those things, can we? But we're not going to change ours to theirs either,
Right.
because we have our beliefs, we have our logic behind it, we have our experience that we see things. So our perspective is different to theirs. That's why they appear different, those things. Doesn't make them right, or us right and them wrong, although that's an inclination that we might bring to it, but we would only say they're wrong if we're intent on defending ours as being right. But when we recognize that there's no objective right or wrong, it's all personal perspective, then we don't need to defend it. It just is the way it is for us, and somehow it's different for them. We probably don't really know or understand what it actually is for them. It's just what it appears to us to be for them, which makes it even harder to say they're wrong. But I believe that racists are wrong. Those that think that they're actually superior because they're white, that's just crazy. I can't go along with that. I'm certainly not going to change my views to conform with theirs. I don't see myself as superior inherently. I may be more privileged than a lot who are not white or who are not whatever, but that doesn't mean I look down on them. It appears that others do look down on those that are different to them, but I can easily see that they're afraid. At least that's a story I tell that makes it easier for me to accept things for them. That they're people who they're afraid of Muslims because they have stories that they've got no validity in terms of experience or anything else. They're just stories that they tell, and it makes them feel better, to feel superior to, and to look down on, and so on. But they're really afraid. You know, we were afraid of the blacks. We were afraid of, here in Australia, there was a time when we were afraid of the Italians when they came over to work. And it turned out, a lot of it was because they worked a lot damn harder than we did. They put up with worse conditions. Well, in the beginning, they lived kind of 15 people in one house and shared the rent and whatever, and worked really, really hard, did lots of shifts, and got very successful. We resented that because we wanted to take it easy and still have everything. So that's kind of a version of fear. There was resentment, I guess. But then the funny thing was that after the Italians came the somebody else, I don't know, I forget who, maybe the Greeks, and the Italians were the worst racists of the lot. About the next lot that turned up. Uh, it's all
Something
crazy
you
stuff.
said,
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say something you said made me realize maybe the thing that um, I'm I'm experiencing the most conflict with is that on one hand, uh, I see it all in ways that you're describing. Um, a lack of being able to change others' minds or control what's happening to be able to fix anything. On the other hand, there's something that tells me that I should be doing something and that I should be defending um, all sorts of things. And if I
Yeah,
just sat
yeah,
here and meditated, that is not the appropriate response to what's happening.
yeah. Let me jump in here and
Yeah,
ask you: when you say you should be, it 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 obviously has the flavour of a story that you should be, right? But I imagine that there's a genuine, intense desire in you to do good. Just a shitty way to put it, but you know what I mean. To help others, to do good stuff.
there is.
Now, the other side of what I was talking about before was: is there a fear that those different views that they seem to hold are going to affect you? Are they going to make you an outlaw? Are they going to cause problems for you?
Hmm. I think there's a part of me that's kind of holding on to that rightness, being on the right side of history. Um, Behaving in ways that my, if my kids have kids, that my grandchildren will will look upon me with uh, some level of like pride or admiration. Like my grandpa, he was a good guy. He was on the right side of things. So there's some beliefs and stories that I think I'm caught up in and trying to there's there's more to it than just helping. And
Mm.
maybe that's where I've struggled, is that I'm conflating the two, and
Yeah, yeah,
it's all or nothing, instead of I can help somebody because they're in need, but don't have to um I don't have to like attack and criticize people
mm,
whom I believe are causing this person to be in need. I don't have to um, get into conflict or argument to try to say how wrong these people are, or that they're lying, or whatever it might be. Um, because all of that is part of defending
yeah, yeah.
defending what I'm identifying with. Um,
So
I can
this popped up for me now. So you know, and I believe that you're a good person. Uh, How important is it for you to be seen as a good person? You want your grandkids to look up to you as a good person. So, so at some level, you want to be seen to be a good person. You want, it's not enough for you just to know that you're a good person yourself. So if you were to help people, but they didn't know you were helping them, would it be the same thing for you?
I just realized that I don't need the people whom I'm helping to know that I'm helping. I need other people to know that I'm helping that person.
Right.
I need to be seen as a good person from the the other the other
Yeah.
people.
Only by people that you respect. The people that have got
Right.
radically different views you don't really care about, I imagine. They're not going to see
Yeah.
you as good anyway, are they? They're going to see you as whatever, however they describe it.
Yeah.
So the people you
I'm
want to see you as good person are the people that you respect.
Yep. Or maybe that's just a way of saying, in the general sense, that I do want to be seen. It doesn't have to be from the person that I was helping, but I
Mm.
want, from somewhere in my experience, I want to receive respect, and I want to be seen, and I want what I'm saying and doing. I'm looking for um, acknowledgement, and not necessarily praise, but just recognition that
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I get
what I'm
that. Yeah.
doing is with wisdom and love, and like
Mm.
I don't have. It's like there isn't enough of it coming from just within me. I
Yeah.
do
So that
need
was
that
going to be my
from.
next question. How, how come you need it from outside? What's why is it not sufficient coming from yourself? You know you're a good person. How come that's not enough? I'm not saying it should be. I'm just asking the question. What comes up
Yeah.
for you when I put that to you? Or to be more blunt,
But go ahead.
to be really blunt and confrontive, do you actually think that you're not a good person?
No. What came up for me um, is that as soon as I just, paused, paid really deep attention to what's coming up in my body and my thoughts, there is no I can't find any deep need or urge to prove
Mm.
to anybody or anything that I don't know, that I'm good enough, whatever, however you want to
Yeah,
describe
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so that's good. That's good.
But
So that opens up something else, though, doesn't it? That opens up, for me at least, that opens up the idea that there's something else, right? That let's say that at a gross level, that approval from others, that acknowledgement from others, isn't about you recognizing that you're good enough yourself. Maybe it's about connection or loneliness
hmm,
or something else. Yeah.
yeah,
Can I jump in?
but absolutely.
Yeah. That
Hmm,
I guess I guess it's no mistake that this has come up for me amongst other things this week. It's nothing. I would talk to Vince about other stuff earlier, and I've been looking at the strongest, in my eyes, roles that I've been playing in my life, throughout my life, and the dissolution or dissolving of them over time, or lessening, whatever you want to call it. And to sort of break it down briefly, the first one was Tim the musician. That and this has all got to do with being recognized. This is my point about all these for approval, and that was sort of put to bed when a recording contract went belly up, and all sorts of shit happened, and it affected not only me, but those around me, my immediate family. Um, so I got over that need to be I don't know, not even a professional, recognized musically. Then the other one, which I banged on about before, was my voice, which you could say is connected to that, but it was speech partly. That that has largely unraveled. There was that, but I noticed recently that the possibly the biggest one in my adult life has been being a spiritual person, and it's not only insidious, but it's very subtle. Is that the right word? Yeah, subtle sometimes. The way it shows up is quite sneaky or subtle. Um, and I used to have it quite heavily, mainly because I didn't have an after I dissolved other options or fucked them up. I didn't have an awful lot going on in my life. I've spent long periods of my life unemployed. If that wasn't going on, I was self-employed uh, in sort of patches. So it's been without going into the linear long story about it. I had to be someone. Surely, I'm telling myself this all the time. So what can I say? You know. Um, so when I was a practitioner of this sort of thing for a while, on and off, it was like a really big deal because that was really, in my eyes, all I had going on. I didn't have the music. Yeah, I was amateur, like I was playing a bit. Um, and when I look back, it's quite shocking. Uh, I didn't realize the amount of store I put in that identity. And it's only now that and it's actually been probably since coming here, like when was that, beginning of September? I can't remember what it was, that has diminished largely. There's still a bit left because I think there's less of the Tim generally in the way. I suspect that's what it is. I can't know that. but there have been a few. If I'm going on, if this relates to you, great. If I'm going on too much, just tell me. But it's just brought it up for me. So, so I'm saying it is like when we have, I've mentioned before, these groups, and they ask me to do a guided meditation at the beginning, which I do. And I did one the other week, and afterwards, one of they're all women. One of the women, apart from me, said, "Oh, Tara Brach, whoever, is really good at the radical acceptance recording she does. They're really good. I love those." Then someone else. This was immediately following my brief delivery. And I took, for a while, I took it, no, yeah, I did take it personally briefly. Then I laughed internally. I thought, so fucking what? Great, go and listen. I didn't think, go and listen to her, like in a snitty way. But I thought, yeah, there's loads of people. It doesn't have to be about me. I did a recording of Yoga Nidra that had thousands of downloads ages ago. So what? Maybe, and people benefited. But this and I guess this is an age thing. I can't know this. There's a story slightly that there still has to be something because we're conditioned. You were talking about consensus opinion and conditioning. When you get to a certain age, you should keep your brain active because you'll go do lally or whatever will happen. Or you should be doing this, should be playing, or I was going to say golf, but it's playing something, walking. I do walk quite a bit. All these mandates that are put up there, and I thought, yeah, that's great. These are things that sort of retired people are supposed to do, but I want something to do that's kind of I don't need to be acknowledged for it. I thought should I as a should again about service then that came up. Well, we're told again in the spiritual world that we should be of service to others, and not because we get brownie points to get into heaven or our karma will change, although that can be thought of like that. So that's been knocking on the door a bit. um
So let me ask you, Tim, are you saying that you see an identification issue for Jeremy?
uh I can't know that because no, I can't know that. I'm not. I was busy talking about myself, but purely because it coincidentally came up this week. Jeremy, can you find identification like in roles and stuff? Not that you should. You don't even have to answer. I was just
Yeah.
banging on about myself. I don't know.
Uh, what what came up is that I feel whatever whatever sort of part of me I'm most identifying with at any particular point, it seems like to be I need that to be seen.
I remember what I was going to
And
say, but carry on. Yeah, go on. Yeah.
and for much of my life, I was not somebody who was active in the sense of serving others. And I'm I am I'm feeling that arise now. And so it's become part, I think there's an identification happening there where it's like I I am somebody who helps people in need, who serves others, who does the right thing in the face of adversity, who sacrifices. Um, and that's a relatively new mask for me to wear. And there's probably a part of me who with that same sort of tendency to want um, whatever mask I was wearing throughout my life, I needed it to be seen and respected and acknowledged. And this just happens to be, it's almost like I learned how to uh, dissolve the identification with the other masks that I've worn throughout my life. and there's a new one that. So it's not like I dissolved identifying with masks. I just happened to get rid of the ones that were much more common and prevalent. And there's a new one, and this is the one that I want to be seen, and I want others to know that Jeremy's helping. He's on the right side. He's doing the right things. He's uh, oof.
So it's
Sorry, you were
important
about
for
to
you. There you
go
go.
ahead. Yeah.
I was just going to say it's not a matter of denying or repressing or pushing away that identification, or whatever intensity it appears, but just recognizing. If you can't if you've got an identity and you see that you've got an identity, you haven't got the identity, kind of thing. So it's really just, it's fine. Like all of that stuff's fine. You just see it. What one thing you said a moment ago was to the inclination to do the right thing. I I would say that that's not exclusive of the inclination to do a good thing. So they can both exist together. And when you recognize that, the compulsion to do it because it's the right thing changes, and that is only a description of what you're doing. It's the right thing. It becomes a description, not a motivation. The motivation is because you want to do it, whatever it is. You want to do good stuff. And quite frankly, I believe that that's pretty fundamentally human. We all want to do good stuff. Those who don't, those who want to do something other than good stuff, they've that's their conditioning and it's corrupted. So, it's a story I've got, a belief that fundamentally human means you want to do the right thing. You want to do good stuff. And it also happens to be the right thing. That's almost irrelevant. That would be just a way of describing it, not the motivation of it.
How are you distinguishing between right and good? I'm realizing if you had asked me to distinguish, I don't know if I'd have an answer, and so
Mm.
I'm trying to understand what you're.
Well, I would say the word "should" will tell you. If you can use the word "should" with the right thing, but you can't use it with good. Or maybe you can, but yeah. And so what we're talking about behavior, doing good, doing the right thing, or behavior, right? But underneath that is an expression of love, an expression of connection.
I'm laughing um, because it's a reminder of something that hit me recently, and that I think has been a source of some of my thought conflict. Is that there are different views of good and right, depending on which part of my conditioning is is present, and that I find some of the ways that um, I see people behaving is not from love and connection and compassion. Maybe that's the core part of where I'm feeling some dissonance. If I were to overly simplify things and break it into two teams, um, the the team that the team that I'm on in terms of like my community that is fighting against the other team being ICE and the Trump administration. Um, there are things that the side that I'm identifying with, things that they're doing that I believe are good, helping other neighbors, um, helping people get food. But there are also things that I see where it's not. So it's like on one hand, there is love and connection and compassion. On the other hand, there is um, aggression, and anybody on the other side is the enemy. And I'm not going to try to understand so that we can better connect. You've reached a point, enemy, where you are now you just need to be destroyed.
Mm.
And I immediately think of, oh, that is what that that is what I have seen people in
Yeah,
MAGA think of me. Like they think I
that's
should be
their attitude.
destroyed.
That's
I
right.
am
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right. And so then I'm immediate like, oh shit, like I'm no different. I'm falling suspect to the same sort of
That's
conditioning
that's
that
true at a certain level. Okay, but let me ask you this. What I see is what you're fighting against isn't those people, but rather what they consider to be appropriate, what they consider to be right and good, right? So the consequences of them, their behavior, is what you're fighting against, what they're doing to people, right? Now, they are the agents of that, sure, but really the enemy is the people that are getting thrown out, the people that are getting arrested, the people that are getting shot or whatever you're seeing happening. That's what you're fighting against. Now, if you consider that, then the aggression, the fight becomes something different. You become more you're more likely to consider how do you compensate for what they're doing rather than to stop them from doing it. You
hmm,
can't stop them from doing it. I mean, maybe the protests will have a certain effect, but maybe, very likely, the protests are going to play right into Trump's hands, and he's going to institute the whatever that act is, the
insurrection.
Insurrection Act, yes, and then that'll give him the chance to bring the military into play, and that'll give him a chance to cancel the midterm elections. So maybe fighting the people is really exactly what he wants to happen. But what you don't want is all the misery that they're causing for people. So maybe instead of shooting the shooters, what you need to do is comfort the victims or whatever you can
Yeah.
do in that way. Yeah. It's just a slightly different perspective. It's easy for us to fall into the idea that they're the enemy when in fact they're just doing what they're doing their very best to feel good. It's just a shitty way of doing it.
I'm not disagreeing with. I think there's two parts. I'm not spending enough time looking at the human needs that they have that they're trying to have met. All I'm looking is at the strategy they have
Mm,
for meeting those needs, and I'm strongly disagreeing with the strategy.
sure. Yeah, I get that.
And but I'm also not. I guess this is less about, I don't know any ICE agents. I don't know anyone in the Trump administration, but I know people who support it, and I'm not pursuing deeper connection and understanding with them. I'm not trying to understand family members, friends.
Mm,
I'm trying to throw uh, headlines and quotes and stories their way to show how wrong they are
yeah,
instead of asking
forget
them
it. Yeah,
questions.
yeah. It won't have any
Yeah,
effect. Yeah. The last thing you're going to listen to is reason and statistics, eh?
right.
It's an emotional issue for them. I guess it is for you too. But it's like climate change deniers. Doesn't matter. Doesn't, we've just had in the top end of our country and the bottom end of our country, we had floods. In the middle of the country, we've had heat waves, and we're talking heat waves. We're talking, 50-degree Celsius weather we've had in some of our countries in the last week. And as a result of that, we've had bushfires, lots of bushfires. So
Mm.
we've had a helicopter flying over here all day, every day for the last 3 days with water bombing the bushfires that's going on. And yet there'll be people that will still stand up and say, oh, climate change, what rubbish. No amount of statistics is going to change their mind. Their investment in that is at an emotional level. Reason and logic aren't going to have any effect whatsoever. And yet,
I'm
some of those people are good people, stupid but good. Yeah.
started laughing a moment ago, and I haven't stopped because I saw someone recently in the U.S. post like, "Wouldn't it be nice to only be worried about climate change again? Like,
Yeah,
can we go back to that?"
yeah, yeah. Yet I
This has
can see a
been
lot of really good things coming out of the Trump administration and the crap that they're doing. I think that there's some potentially great outcomes to be had there. Whether they'll materialize or not's another story, but yeah, we could.
this has been helpful. Thank you all for
Yeah, good stuff.
giving me some space to look within.
Yeah, thank you, Jeremy. It's been good. It's a big one. You're on the front line, so to speak. I'm
It's
insulated by
supposed
my television set. I just watch it on the
to,
news.
it's kind of surreal to have. I mean, Minnesota, my whole life, it's been talked about being what we call a flyover state. People just, it's a state you fly over as you're going from New York to LA or Chicago to LA, and no one ever really stops here. And we've got kind of like this insecurity. It's um, or if someone is from Minnesota, we just have to broadcast that like Prince. Like we are so proud that Prince is from Minneapolis. Um, but it's been surreal. One of the, I guess, protests or rallies that I went to, someone was talking about how she was part of this organization where she meets with other people around the world from different countries who are also dealing with authoritarian regimes. And she went to this conference a couple of weeks ago, and she said all anybody wanted to talk about was Minneapolis. And those people were from countries who had been dealing with authoritarianism for much longer. And it was so interesting to hear that.
Mm,
And it wasn't just people wanting to talk about the United States and the Trump administration. It was the city of Minneapolis. And
mm, yep.
I
And
don't like
just
that we're on
seeing
the
the
world's
seeing the
good.
crowds of people there who are out to do the right thing is really uplifting. Big stuff. Yeah.
Did you hear yourself say the right thing?
Yeah. I didn't hit, but yeah, thanks for pointing that out. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's after midnight here, so I'm going to go to bed. But it's been good stuff. Yeah. Excellent meeting. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Vince. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you all.
See you
Thank
soon.
you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. I'll send you that exercise, Jenny.
Thanks, Vince.
Yeah. Tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay. Sleep well.